No returns, no refunds.
We said till death do we part. Quite literal, actually. Okay. So, as I like to say with these things, as long as everything is working the way that it should be working, we are now live. So hello, welcome to everyone who is watching the Writerish Melanin channel. If you never, that's not the right intro. Hi, I'm Chelsea, better known as CM Lockhart, and I'm here with the amazing, the wonderful Audra Russell. And I completely blanked and started mushing together the intro for my TikTok with the Melanin Chat. So that's the kind of morning we're at, you guys. Love that for us.
I had to actually open up my YouTube window so I could see what's going on and see the chat. So,
Speaking of the chat, shout out to
already
family friendly PG-13, man.
Listen, don't be acting like your kids don't curse. Get out of here.
First of all,
sorry, but
I have no children.
I'm talking about people that are listening.
She said, I'm telling you right now how to raise your children because...
No, I said, I'm telling you right now that your children curse, or they at least heard it. So, I'm just saying.
I can't say nothing. I picked up a potty mouth in like the 6th grade, so yeah.
This is what I'm saying.
That being said, shout out to Felicia, who was first in the chat. DL is here. We missed you last week, DL. Not last week. Last chat. Welcome. Let's see here. Ash is here. J Monet is here. La is here. Ben is here. Welcome. Hope you guys are doing well. Let us know how you're doing in the chat this beautiful morning. I hope it's beautiful where you're at, rather. And yeah, y'all know how we do. So we're gonna give everybody. Why are you looking like that, Audra? You look like you are confused.
Because I'm carefully moving my windows around, making sure I don't close my YouTube again.
Okay. She said, I'm trying to get it right. Trying to get it straight.
I am. You know.
Oh, I forgot to add a link in the description box for today. So while we are waiting, giving everybody a couple of minutes to get in here, get situated, and give y'all our melanin spotlights for the week, a thing happened. I did a thing. You guys. So
what did you do?
What did I do? It actually kind of goes in line with what we're talking about today about unpopular bookish opinions, and I guess it just falls in line with the author side of bookish opinions. But I have a new server. It's called the Bookharts, and it's where I'm going to be posting my updates and things. I guess I can talk about it a little bit more later once we get into these unpopular opinions and such. But I wanted to bring it up because it is a open server, meaning that like you can just click the link and join if you would like to get updates from me and then also talk about my books. Because I realized that with the after chat, I was... Y'all know I can't do two things at one time. Let me grab this link first. I'm so sorry. I tried really hard for you guys. Okay.
Poor Chelsea.
Hey, look, man, we all got our limitations and I abide by mine.
Not abiding by your limitations.
Oh, it's already down here. Look at me. Anyway, it's called the Bookhart server. And essentially, it's an open server, so if you want to join, you can. But part of the reason I created it is because I realized that I was starting to get people on the Patreon who actually wanted to talk about We Are the Origin and We Are Dying Gods. And y'all know the After Chat server isn't necessarily about me and my books. So I was like, let me create a space where it's just like, if you talk about what Sarah was doing in book 2, there's a space for that, you know? So that's what it is. Like I said, it's free. Anyone can join it. There are some rules that you have to agree to because, yeah. But other than that, enjoy. Have fun. Also, shout out to Joanne and Portia who came in. Hello. Welcome. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. That being said, we're going to go ahead and get into these melanin spotlights for the day, this morning.
Today and the day both worked.
Yeah.
I mean, Chelsea's tired today, y'all.
I am. We'll talk about that. Audra's going to go first because she hates it when I do that. Go for it.
And you notice how she says that every single time, too.
I have
not read
an older sibling, so I have to antagonize. I have to. It's like, oh, you hate this? Go for it.
Ben said, are you okay?
Me? Maybe.
I guess.
Possibly.
You asking me. Hi, Portia. Hi. I was about to say hi between reads. Lord have mercy. That's me.
Talking in third person. Tell them about your book.
Avina. I started reading this, I'm not going to lie, in December, and I only got to page 4, and then I put it down because I was just like, I don't feel like reading. But I've heard it's very, very good. The Violin Conspiracy by Brendan Slocum, and I also have his second book that's out. It's not a sequel, but it's in the same type of vein. So it says, a riveting page-turner about a black classical musician's desperate quest to recover his lost violin on the eve of the most prestigious musical competition in the world. Growing up black in rural North Carolina, Ray McMillan's life is already mapped out. If he's lucky, he'll get a job at the hospital cafeteria. If he's extra lucky, he'll earn more than minimum wage. But Ray has a gift and a dream. He's determined to become a world-class professional violinist, and nothing will stand in his way. Not his mother, who wants him to stop making such a racket, not the fact that he can't afford a violin suitable to his talents, not even the racism inherent in the world of classical music. When he discovers that his great-great-grandfather's beat-up old fiddle is actually a priceless Stradivarius, all his dreams suddenly seem within reach. Together, Ray and his violin take the world by storm, but on the eve of the renowned and cutthroat Tchaikovsky competition, the Olympics of classical music, the violin is stolen, a ransom note for $5 million left in its place. Ray will have to piece together the clues to recover his treasured Strad before it's too late. With the descendants of the man who once enslaved Ray's great-great-grandfather asserting that the instrument is rightfully theirs, and with his family staking their own claim, Ray doesn't know who he can trust or whether he will ever see his beloved violin again. So,
well,
that was very interesting. People said they love it. So, it's a very interesting take, and a Stradivarius is a very, very, very expensive violin. So,
it is.
I think it's going to be a very good book. I just need to sit down and read it. I haven't been reading, y'all. I read my book for the first show of the year. But that's the first book I read since November because I've just been tired.
No, that's real. I'm tripping out over the fact that you were like, oh, I got to page 4 and I stopped, but let me tell you guys about it. That cracks me up. But y'all know me. I can't.
And it wasn't like it was dry. It was interesting, but my brain was like, yeah, this is interesting, but no.
And I can't even say anything because y'all know that the book that I'm about to tell you about, I ain't read. I just heard about it. So I can't even say that I ain't cracked it open. So my book for this week is Outdrawn by Deanna Gray. And this book has been popping up everywhere on my timeline. And everybody has been like, oh, this book is amazing. And
pretty cover.
It is pretty. And then the thing that got me is, okay, y'all know that I am a judgmental book girly. For better or for worse, I am a harsh critic for books, right? If you're not doing a thing, I'm be like, oh, you tried. It wasn't cute, but you tried, right? And so I'm just kind of like, I read the Look Inside feature of this book on Amazon, and I was like, oh, I think I'm actually going to read this year, like in the next couple of weeks. Because I was like, the way the Look Inside feature had me being like, oh, I want to keep going. And I feel like a book needs to do that. At this point in my life, if the Look Inside feature, if you're not doing it in the first 3 pages, babes, I don't care what's in the book. I don't care what you thought it was going to be. I'm not committing to it because if you're tripping over the first steps of the journey, I don't want to go on a mile-long walk with you. I don't. So anyway, that being said, Outdrawn by Deanna Gray. This is a relatively new book. It just came out in December. And the summary reads, it isn't always lonely at the top. Noah Blues finally got her foot in the door. After clawing her way to the top of the charts with her webcomic, she's garnered enough attention to earn a full-time position at a comic company relaunching their cult classic comic, Queen Lasa? I don't know. Lasa. I don't know. Queen Lasaw is predicted to be an instant bestseller with movie deals already in the making. Things are falling into place. There's nowhere to go but up, as soon as she gets one person out of her way. Sage Montgomery has always been the best artist in every building she stepped foot in. Raw Talents got her webcomic to the top of the charts every month for the past 8 years. She's been the best for as long as she can remember. Sure, her career has plateaued, but that can be fixed with a big mainstream comic. She was promised full creative control over Liesa. Instead, she gets a shared credit with the one artist who's been breathing down her neck since college. The one artist who has a fighting chance of being better than her. Sage and Noah have to work as a team, or at least appear to work as a team. They thought the hardest part of the relaunch would be drawing together. But that's easy in comparison to resisting their feelings for each other. So this is a sapphic rivals to lovers romance. And the fact that it's Black girls, the fact that it's adults, the fact that they're doing something creative, the fact that it's actually like a rivalry and not just straight up oppression, because Bethany Baptiste talked about that on Twitter. If y'all did not see that, people on the internet are wild, you guys. They do not understand the difference between rivals to lovers and just straight up oppression, and it's wild. It's crazy. Anyway, I thought it looked and sounded it really cute. So I was like, between...
Did you just say sounded it?
Sounded it. Yep, sure did. Like skinned it. Gotta add an extra ED on that.
Lord have mercy.
I thought it was cute. And La has also gotten into it, and she says that it's really good. So I'm about it. I'm gonna try it. I'm stepping out of my box this year. One of the things that I'm trying to do this year is, instead of just reading Black authors, to specifically read more books by Black authors outside of the ones that I typically go for. So more queer books, more books with disabled characters, more books with neurodivergent characters, things like that, because there's more than one way to read diversely. So
yep, absolutely.
That's on my list.
Absolutely, Chelsea.
So that being said, you guys, we got some unpopular bookish opinions going around the internet, and I'm just like, this internet is a wild place to exist. Some people need to come back to earth.
Listen, social media ain't social. That's all I'm here to say.
You know, I would say it is. It's just, I feel like social media is such a wide place where it's just like you see that other people genuinely do not think like you. I think the thing about social media for me is that for a lot of people, the experience you get in college of being around other people who do not think like you, who come from a different background, who just, their brains are not wired the same. Like their core memories are not yours. Like when you're growing up as a child, you have a lot of people surrounding you who are from the same place, so they have a lot of same experiences. Social media does not care where you are from. They do not care what you think, and you will really see some hot takes. And I'm all good for it when it's like constructive conversation. But some people just be dying on hills that I'm like, baby, this was flat ground that you just did. You just stood here for no reason and laid down on. Like this was not it. This was not it. One of them was what I was telling you about, Bethany Baptiste. If you guys don't remember, I'm sorry if y'all can hear me stirring my drink. I'm trying to get my green tea in while it's still cold before it heats up. Bethany Baptiste, if you guys don't remember, she's the author of The Poisons We Drink, and she is the one who was, I want to say, most targeted by the Kate Corain thing, which was the lady who was like making up conversations with herself in the past, right? And bashing authors on Goodreads. She talked about the rivals to lovers, enemies to lovers being completely different, and that a lot of people don't understand that there has to be a balance of power in order for it to be an enemies to lovers or rivals to lovers type romance. Otherwise, it's just straight up oppression. And I'm like,
right.
Well, duh. To me, that's what my brain did. It's like, well, obviously, right? Apparently, there were a lot of people on the internet who did not agree and were just like, no, well, there are exceptions. And I'm like, No, and people brought up, one of the ones that they brought up was like the student teacher, I guess, type dynamic or whatever. And it's just kind of like that's not a balance of power, you guys, because you have one person who's significantly older than the other in a position of power in the relationship because they're literally their teacher. So at no point are they on equal footing, even if it's like a college situation and the quote unquote younger person in question is an adult. Like, that's still not, y'all are missing the point. Why are we being obtuse? I feel like everyone's out here trying to be triangles when we could just be straight lines and understand that some points are just a straight line, point A to point B. That's it.
I'd be interested in having a demographic breakdown of the people who had some of these opinions, because I'm pretty sure a lot of them don't look like us. I'm sure there are some that do in that group, but I would be willing to bet it would be more heavily non-melanated folks that have that take on things.
I didn't go through the thread, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. I just saw it come across my timeline, and I was just like, y'all are interesting. Like, what part of oppression appeals to y'all? Why is this a thing? Like, why is this so hard for you to understand? And I feel like even in the most basic terms, people just choose not to, and they warp things to their own perception because they don't want to hear that they're wrong. Like, oh my God, take the L, you guys. Take the L and move on. Anyway. Miss Mono Color Reader said, rivals to lovers and enemies to lovers are two different tropes. It's enemies to lovers that got folks confused because they always pair oppressors and they're oppressed. And I remember Bethany talking about in her tweet that a decent example would be, a good example, like positive example of enemies to lovers is, I live in Kingdom A and you live in Kingdom B, and we're both monarchs of our nations and we're going to war. Okay, that's equal footing because we are both royalty. We are both in positions of power. It's just our goals are directly conflicting with each other. That's enemies to lovers. What's not enemies to lovers is, you're a king in Kingdom A and I am a peasant in Kingdom B, and you decide to just kidnap me and make me your queen. That is not enemies to lovers, because what is the peasant going to do against royalty who's been kidnapped? Huh? That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense.
I mean, another good example of enemies to lovers is DL's books, The Neverlist. That's enemies to lovers. And the beach thing, well, is that enemies to lovers? Because they had a conflicting starting point, but then they weren't like established enemies. Like they.
And honestly, I feel like
So
that's something that a lot of people kind of have to accept, especially in this era of, oh, that's bullying. It's like, when you have enemies to lovers, it has to be something that's redeemable. It can't be something where it's just, that's why a lot of these quote unquote interracial romances that are enemies to lovers that has a black woman with a very conservative white Republican man, it's like, no, sweetie, that doesn't work because he fundamentally doesn't believe in your rights as a human being. That's why that doesn't work. Like, that's not redeemable. Like, I don't understand how y'all are selling this,
because I'm not going to say.
I'm gonna let Audra be good, and we're gonna move on. I agree with Vita. A student and teacher will always be gross to me. I don't care how old they are, unless it is literally something where it's just like the age gap is there, but she was never his student. Like, okay, you're dating a TA at a completely different college or university. Like, you're enrolled at the community college and he's working at the university. Okay, and y'all met at your friend's birthday party or something. I don't know. You can't be in his class. That's not okay. You can't ever be his student. That's weird. But that's just me. Also, DL is here. Hi. Ooh,
Yeah.
Don't know why I said that in that pitch. I am so sorry y'all had to hear that.
In what pitch?
I'm not going to repeat it.
Okay, well, I didn't hear.
You got electricity flowing in your ears, homie.
Listen, don't. Because the way I had to remain calm, because this pair did it to me too, and I'm like, I was sitting here trying not to scream when it happened.
Ooh. Ooh. Audra got new headphones, you guys, and apparently they're shocking her through her ears.
First one zapped me while I was editing videos, and now this one zapped me. So I got them on Amazon. They came highly rated. They were a box of 5 or 4 or something like that.
And y'all, the first thing I said when she said that is like, there's a reason they came in a box of 5.
They came highly rated. It was an Amazon overall choice. And there were lots and lots of reviews because I always read reviews before I buy. And everybody's like, yes, these are really great. They last a long time. I had to get the only pair, the only box with, that's trying to like electrocute me. I don't know.
Well, please don't get zapped in the closet. That would be unfortunate.
Stepfather pairing. Ew.
There are a lot of, this is why I say that the romance girlies are terrifying, because there are a lot of tropes that are actually just like, I would not touch that with a 10-foot pole. Like, I would be more likely to hang out with a Grinch prior to him meeting Cindy Lou Who than deal with some of these tropes. Because I'm just like, y'all are weird. like, this is odd. Nah. But yeah, it's just...
Listen, lie. You wasn't here, okay? She talking about, no, I could have told you that was a bad idea.
Literally the same.
And now, Ben, listen, okay? They were doing fine. They were doing fine. I was using that one pair for because I've had these since November and had no problems.
Yes, but you took all of December and most of January off, all of November and December off. So
no,
you weren't using
I was
them.
using these, and I must have got it before that because I did these for Melanin Chat all last year. I ain't had no problems. At least a good portion of last year, like September.
September, homie? We ended in November. The first week of November.
If something was going to happen, it should have happened. You know what? Leave me alone. Go back to the book talk.
I'm going to send you a link to some headphones that are decent. I got you. I don't know why you didn't just ask me.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway.
The right one's got to come out. I'm just going to be on one ear, y'all. Because that just hurt.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
You'll be okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. As long as this one don't act up. This one act up, I'm going to have to be in here without the headphones on.
That'll be a journey.
Listen. La laughing at me.
It's okay. It's
See,
okay.
the things at me because they don't like me talking about them. Y'all did this to me.
I love how she always finds a way to blame us.
It was fine until y'all talking about it. Okay, so back to your book talk.
I was looking at the comments. Another thing that differentiates rivals to lovers from enemies to lovers is that the rivals come to have a mutual respect for one another and find a common goal. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's that. Okay, unpopular bookish opinion. I feel like there are a lot of people writing romance who don't actually know how to write romance. They know how to write lust. And those are two completely different things. And it's just like, everybody ain't good at everything. And it's okay. But I feel like some people are like, oh, it's it's enemies to lovers because they're lusting after each other. And it's just like, okay, you can be fine and still keep your distance. Like, I don't understand why those two things aren't mutually exclusive from each other. And they never address that fact in the book. It's never like, oh, well, I started talking to him because I realized that he was a decent person. It's like, no, he's out here, murdering people, but I mean, he's cute while he does it. So, I mean, we can forgive that, right? No. Anyway, shout out to Margaret and TB who came in. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well.
Good morning.
Good morning. That man at work who you had an argument with one time is not enemies to lovers. Okay. Vina also brought up a good point. some of these.
That depends on how big the argument was. Because if it was a knockdown, drag out, I almost came across the table and choked you argument, then yeah, that's enemies to lovers. Because if y'all like, I mean, I'm just saying.
I think it could be enemies to lovers, like you said, depending on the context. Like if you're both going up for the same promotion and y'all have been at the company since you both graduated and y'all have been there for like 5 or 6 years, and at every turn you're like constantly one-upping each other to the point where everybody in the office knows, like, oh, they're on the same project together. Yes, I want to be on this team because I need to see how this plays out, right? That could be enemies to lovers. But that one guy who doesn't even know your last name and you just had that one bad morning and you told him to F off, and then you realize that, oh, he's my boss. That's not enemies to lovers. That's just a really unfortunate meet cute, honestly. But speaking of, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what a meet cute is, you guys. People use this term and this phrase, and I'm just like, what is this? Is this just like...
I have no idea.
What does this mean? What is a meet cute? Somebody explain that to me.
When you meet somebody and you look cute.
I'm pretty sure that's not what it means.
But you said you don't know what it means, so you don't know that that's not what it means.
I'm pretty sure
Chelsea.
that's not how it's used, given the context in which it's used.
We don't meet and I'm cute.
Somebody who reads more books than we do, explain this in the chat, please.
That's my definition, and I'm sticking with it. We gonna meet and I'm cute. We gonna meet and you cute. So if you both meet and you're both cute, then it's a meet cute. But if you both meet and one of you ugly, it ain't a meet cute.
I'm dead. Not her making up new rules. If that's what it is, I would love to know, but I was under the impression that it was not that.
Meet cute is when the couple meet in a cutesy way.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cute scene where two MCs meet. Have you not watched The Holiday? The Holiday?
There are so many movies with Holiday. I've seen Last Holiday with Queen Latifah.
Yeah, I love Last Holiday.
Love that one.
That was my jam.
Love that one. I just have that one on DVD still.
That was my jam.
Yeah.
So then Just Right with Queen Latifah and Common would also be a meet cute. Kind of. I don't know. All these terms, people just be making up terms just, to...
Okay.
Whatever.
Let's see here. Meet for the first time. Okay, I got you. The moment when your protagonist comes into contact with each other. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's sweet, sometimes there's conflict. Okay. I'm with you. Y'all, sometimes I just be going with the flow and I just be getting stuff in context because I'm like, I ain't no way I'm about to sit here on this internet and Google what is a meet cute. I'm gonna just take it from context.
All kinds of stuff will come up, and some of it might not even be stuff that you want to see.
Pleased to meet you. Set on being introduced to someone.
I need y'all to know that I was definitely not talking to it, and it just scared the crap out of me. Computer in the sky. There are drawbacks. Okay. Alrighty.
Need to see how the comments, because there's like a 5 or 10 second delay between when it happens for us and when it happens when we see it on YouTube for the comments. Oh, Google be all up in folks' business.
Truly, it's fine. I mean, it's convenient most times. But then sometimes like that, I'm just like, what is happening? You just hear like a male voice talking behind you, like, oh, what? First of all, I'm like, they got through Ben. I have no chance of making it. So, and then it's like,
said it totally just answered what a meet cute was in here too. DL said, nobody's talking to you, Google. Stay out of grown folks' business.
Literally that. thought it was just me. I thought my phone was being hacked. No, it's me. It's my problem. I am so sorry. I will never use the G word on the chat ever again. Okay. Okay.
Google is that person that be in their cubicle listening and you don't realize they're listening.
Ooh, Barrett's here. Hi. Sorry. Sorry, Barrett hasn't been in the chat for a very long time. So,
Barrett.
Hi, Barrett.
She's lurking while working a bit.
Yeah. Also, Read Love Listen is here. I don't think I said hello to you. I've seen your comments and I've been responding to them in my head, but I don't think I did it out loud. Hey, girl, how you doing?
Hey, everybody.
Everybody wants to be a cat. Okay.
Alrighty.
Sorry. Sometimes certain words just trigger certain things and I can't stop it in my brain, so I just have to go with it. And it's easier to just go with it than to fight it. So, anywho. There was
Oh, man.
another unpopular opinion that I feel like we absolutely need to talk about while we are here. And if you haven't seen it, there is a relevant link down in the description box. It's like the very last one. And there's this woman who decided to get on the internet in 2024 and be like, hey, if you rate a book less than 3 stars, then you are a problem. She didn't use the word problem. She's like, you are a problem because authors work really hard. And she spent the last 4 months writing her book and she's 120,000 words into it and she is nowhere near done. And if someone rates her book less than 3 stars, she's going to be upset. And I'm just like,
She called them a-holes is what she called them.
she did. And I'm just like, girl, what? First of all, there are so many things to unpack in that one like little TikTok. First of all, less than 3 stars, babes, if you want more than 3 stars, write a 3-star book or a 4-star book or a 5-star book. Like, you control the outcome here as the author. You just write a really good book. But then it's also like you realize that you can't tell people how to appreciate art. Like, there are people who don't like the Mona Lisa. Like, that's how it works. There are people who don't like Avatar: The Last Airbender. They're not my friends, but I mean, there are people out there who feel that way. You know? You can't tell people how to feel about things. And then to be like, oh, if you don't like something, you should just not tell people. And I'm like, y'all realize that when you go online, like Audra said, she looked up her headphones, right? You know she was looking for the people who said those headphones were a problem. She wasn't looking for the people who loved it. She was like, what's wrong with them? Same thing when you look up a restaurant. You're like, what's wrong with the restaurant? Like, what are the problems here? I just need to make sure before I go because I want to know what I'm getting into. And I find it interesting that people will appreciate it in that sense. But then when it comes to the books, be like, oh, if you don't like it, you just shouldn't say anything because that's so mean. And I'm like, no, tell people if there's a problem with the book that you were like, you know what? This warrants a 1-star review. Give a 1-star review and tell them why. The thing is, I feel like so many authors forget that like, what one person doesn't like is something that somebody else will be exactly looking for. So it's just so interesting. But then she also continued in her rant and said, I'm 120,000 words into this book and I'm nowhere near done. And I'm going to need y'all to know that I'm working on Project Necromancer right now and I'm aiming for 120,000 words tops. And so I'm like, babes, you already hit this mark and you're still going? Love, wait a second. For a singular book? I need y'all to know that the priority of the orange tree is only like 300,000 words. It's like 240 to 300,000 words. So if you're only halfway at 120, you're literally looking at a book as thick as that. And I'm like, there's a reason why there's only like one book that I can think of that's that long. There's a reason for it. So I'm just like, this was a choice. And I'm just like, why do people feel the need to get on the internet and tell readers how to read? This is so weird to me. I don't know. I just find it interesting. And then
Barrett said that's biblical. I can't.
And then DL was like, Ruby's was 150K when I finished it and I cut it down to 119. That part. I'm just like, most books do not need to be longer than 120,000 words. Most books. There are exceptions. I'm not going to pretend like there aren't. But especially for a first book, unless you're writing a true fantasy epic, like true fantasy epic, I don't know about that, homie. I don't know. I think we need to reevaluate some things. But I also don't think just because you spent 4 months writing 120,000 words doesn't mean that no one can be like, oh, this should have been like 70,000 words and that's it. Because that also happens. Some books are just way too long. And it's just kind of like, you ain't need all this. You really didn't. I'm not into it. And you can't be mad about that. Because I believe it was Joanne who said, she said it in the chat, but the conversation always comes up, right? Authors shouldn't be in reader spaces. And I have feelings. I have opinions about that too. Because my unpopular opinion on that is that I don't think, to a certain extent, you can separate that because authors are readers. We read books. That's literally part of our job, right? But I also feel like, I don't know. I feel like the thing that people really need to get comfortable with saying is that authors need to protect their own feelings. It's not the entire world's job to make sure that your feelings aren't hurt over your book. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's such a weird concept that everybody who reads your book is under the obligation to protect you. No, your friends might protect your feelings. If you have a not great ARC team, they might protect your feelings and like hype you up when they probably should be telling you how to fix your book before it comes out. But I mean, once it's out in the world, it's out in the world. Like, I don't know. I feel like this so I don't know. I'm kind of not over the conversation, but it's just like, I feel like there's been so much space lately being made for people who are not, let's say, reaching their full potential. I'll say they are not trying their best. They are not coming out the gate swinging, you know? It's just like, I don't know. Everybody's literally, the way a hierarchy works is everyone's not going to be at the top. That's just like literally how it works. And it sucks. But also, I don't know, if you want to be at the top, just write a better book. I don't know, if you want high ratings, write a better book. Is that weird? Is that elitist of me? I don't know. I don't think it is. Because I'm like, anybody can read a craft book and like get better at writing. It's a skill. Some of it's talent, but a lot of it's just skill. Like, you can get better at it. I don't know. What do y'all think?
And if you can't get better at it, then don't continue to do it. If you tried and it's not working, then it's not for you, or at least that style of writing isn't for you. Find a different style.
Find a different style, or find a different, I don't know, hold yourself to a different standard. It's like, have realistic expectations, and thinking, I don't know, I just feel like thinking that everybody who rates your book, especially since the people who put out these opinions, I feel like, and this is an assumption, right? And I acknowledge that, but I feel like these come from places of assuming that you're going to have hundreds of reviews and not a single one's going to be negative. I don't know. I feel like the probability and statistics says that's not likely. Someone's not going to like something. That's just fact. And to be like, oh, you are the problem. You're an a-hole. Like, you're a bully on the internet. Because you rated a book 1 star? Bruh. That is, no. Let's see here. Qualified authors can't be in reviewer spaces if they can't handle themselves. Amen. Your feelings are yours to protect. That's it. That's it. It's like, and I posted about this on TikTok too, because I was just like, I'm not a fan of telling authors not to check their reviews, especially as an indie author. I understand that those reviews have value because you're not going to have a team of people kind of like telling you what they thought about the book, or it's letting you know if you've got awards or accolades or anything like that. Like, the reviews that you get are really your only metric of like measuring yourself. And I understand that, right? But I also feel like this is a very unpopular opinion. Yeesh. I thought about it as I was about to say it, but I guess I'm going to say it anyway because I've already started. Back in 2011, you guys, there was this movie that came out with Emily Osment, and it was called Cyberbully, right? And in it, homegirl is, you guessed it, cyberbullied, and the whole movie is about that. And me being my problematic self, at 15 at the time, mind you, I was upset at the movie because I was looking at homegirl and I was just like, so get off the internet. Like, literally solve the whole movie in the first 5 minutes. Get off the internet. And it was so weird to me because I was like, you realize you don't have to be on the internet. You realize you don't have to be on these spaces where these people are mean to you. You realize you don't have to engage. You realize that you can block people. You realize you could just not do this. And then when her mom found out, I'm like, so you didn't just take her computer and tell her to get off the internet? You tried to instate some rules around it? And I'm like, you couldn't have read a book. You couldn't have gone outside. You couldn't have gone to the movies. You couldn't have interacted with your real life friends. Like, it was so weird to me. And then it carried over to like her in-person life at school. And I was just like, okay, I get this. Like, and mind you, when I watched this, I was a teenager, right? And high school was not fun for me. So understand that I come from that place, right? And I'm just like, you have autonomy, homie. Like, what? And so coming from that place, right, I say that as an adult in 2024, don't read the reviews if it's going to bother you. Like, you have autonomy. You just don't, no one's forcing you to read it. No one's forcing you to be like, oh, this person hated my book. There are people who DNF my book. There are people on my street team who DNF my book and left long reviews about it on Goodreads before the book was even published. You know what I did? I was like, oh, damn. Okay. That's how you felt? That's cool, fam. And then I moved on because there are other people who enjoyed the book. And I knew at the end of the day, it's a good book. Like, I did what I was supposed to do. Just because you didn't like it doesn't mean it was bad. Here's the thing. If I am a chef and I make you a plate of spaghetti and it's the most bomb-ass plate of spaghetti you've ever had in your life, and you don't like tomatoes, it does not matter what I could have done to that plate of spaghetti. You are never going to like it because you don't like tomatoes. That's the reality. And I feel like more authors need to take that approach with their books. It's like, you did everything you could have with your book. You put everything you could have. It's a bomb book. Or maybe it's not. I don't know. You got to judge that for yourself. But assuming that is good, you did everything you could. If somebody doesn't like it, they don't like it. That's their problem. That's literally what I tell myself. I want to be so good of an author where I'm like, if somebody doesn't like my book, that's a them problem. It's not a me problem. It's not because the craft's not there. It's not because the storytelling's not there. It's not because the plot and the pacing, the character development, the arc development, the writing, the grammar, the punctuation, the cover art, the formatting. It's not going to be because of anything that I could have controlled. It's straight up because you're like, oh, I felt like this character was mean. Yeah, she's not nice. She's an assassin. She's not supposed to be friendly. So if that's not what you if that's what you came here for, you are looking for the wrong thing. You came to a pizza place looking to get a freaking Chinese sesame chicken tray. You came to the wrong place for the wrong thing. But that's my rant. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I don't know. Stuff like that just kind of gets me, I'm not going to say upset. That's not the right word. But I just be like, you really could have just minded your business and just like wrote your really, really long book for no reason. And then just let people make their own decisions. And then
books are like music. Some music you like, some music you don't.
Some music you don't. And the thing is, the people who leave 1-star reviews, most people who leave 1-star reviews aren't doing it to be like, oh, I hate the book. Most people don't leave reviews for books that they don't like, especially ones that they don't finish. They don't go leave a review and be like, oh, I DNF'd this book because yada, 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 yada. 9 times out of 10, if someone leaves that kind of review on your book, it's because you did something or something was in the book that they felt strongly about. And here's the other flip side of that coin. If you are giving your reader strong emotions, that's something that you should be doing as an author. You can't control whether they like it or not. Now, if it's problematic, fix that. Fix yourself. Take that up with your Jesus. Be a better person. But if it's not problematic and they just don't like it, you did what you were supposed to do. You gave them an emotion. that's what they picked up the book for. It's not your fault that they didn't like the emotion. But that's also what trigger warnings are for. So I also encourage adding trigger warnings and content warnings to books so that people actually know what they're getting into. But that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I missed a lot of these comments because it was going too fast. But yeah.
One that I like is Ash Writes Lots says, I agree. Research other books you aspire to be on the level of them. Figure out what could be keeping you below that level. Work to get on that level.
Amen. And I'm going to say this. Unpopular opinion. I feel like more authors need to work on their craft instead of trying to figure out how to market their book. Because at the end of the day, the books that people really talk about are the ones that got a lot of word of mouth. The things that people try to emulate when it comes to fame and success are word of mouth. Like when people talk about Twilight, it's not because that book was amazingly well written. It's not. It's because literally it was a moment. It was because everybody in a certain generation had some type of interaction with that book, where they read it, where they didn't read it, where they watched the movies. It was word of mouth. It had nothing to do with the skill of the book. And I feel like when you're chasing that, what helps, the thing that you can control, is the skill level of the book, is what goes into the craft. So, yeah. Because I see a lot of authors, especially newer ones on the internet, being like, oh, market my book. How do I network? How do I get into these spaces? And as someone who has like a podcast and stuff, I see a lot of people reaching out and I'm like, oh, okay, let me like see what your book is about. They don't have a website. The only page that they have is on Facebook, and it's a personal one. And the look inside feature on their book is like, thank you so much for reading my book. I know that this has problems, but ooh, baby, why are we starting with that? You're warning me about your book before I even buy it? Nah, homie. You're not. And I feel like that's another conversation to be had, where I feel like a lot of authors are not ready for the professionalism that they seek, like the professional outlets and platforms that they seek out. There's more to it than just writing a book. There's a lot more to it than just writing a book, even writing a good book.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I feel like that's a whole other conversation. If y'all like us to have that one, let us know, and I will add it to the docket for later. But
yeah, that's a whole conversation.
Yeah. And also, Shannon came in. Hello, welcome, friend. Made friends with the like button. Yeah. I get so tired of this book has XYZ, but then it's poorly written. I don't want fast fashion books. I want something that I can sit with and enjoy. Oh, that's another take, because let me tell you, I feel like people forget that when people buy books, like it literally stays on their shelf for the most part, for like ever. It's supposed to be a form of entertainment that you can come back to. And I feel like a lot of books that I've read lately are ones that I'm like, I should have gotten this from the library so I can take it back when I was done. Like, I don't want to keep it forever. I don't, but I also don't want to just throw it away. But yeah. Benjamin said also authors need to know their target audience and what kind of writer they want to be. Yeah. Facts. But we also, I asked you guys what your unpopular opinions were, and we got 2 of them, so I also want to touch on those. And Jay Monet mentioned the fact that cozy is not a subgenre, and people need to stop trying to make it one. So cozy mystery, cozy fantasy, cozy thriller was what I saw. I was like, what is a cozy thriller? That feels oxymoronish. That feels contradictory.
I mean, a cozy mystery is, because there is a cozy mystery where like there is a murder, but there's no like gore on the page and stuff like that. Like, that is a thing, but I thought it was only for mystery. I didn't know there was cozy anything else.
Yeah, there's cozy for pretty much every genre at this point. And I feel like people are using it to be like, oh, it's low stakes. But I'm also like, no. Like, there are other ways to advertise that. So cozy mystery is a long time subgenre. I get that because you have like high stakes mysteries versus cozy mysteries. But a cozy dark fantasy, what does that even mean? It's a dark fantasy. The dark is the modifier of the noun in this situation. So, how do we have a cozy dark anything? That doesn't make sense. Like a cozy thriller? What are we doing? Because a thriller naturally implies that the stakes are high, that there's going to be a lot of suspense. What does it mean to make it cozy? Are we reading a book about someone reading a book about a thriller? And so the stakes aren't real? Like, do we have some level of inception happening here? What's happening? I don't get it. I lit Twitter on fire over cozy horror for like a month, but I'm a stand on my claim. What is cozy horror? What is that? What? Horror is supposed to scare you.
He said cozy thriller is an oxymoron. The point of a cozy is no death on the page and an amateur investigator. How you have a thriller with those parameters? Exactly.
Yep. I don't know. People just be making stuff up. I feel like there are a lot of authors who don't actually know how to write within a genre. It's just, it is what it is. I realize that I am a walking unpopular opinion because I feel like a lot of these subgenres and different things come up because authors don't know how to actually write within a genre. They don't know the tropes. They didn't do the research. They don't know the skills. They don't know the beats. They don't know what's supposed to be included. And they're just trying to, like it was mentioned, fast fashion. They're just hopping on the train to like try to make a quick buck, or they're trying to hop on the train so they can get on the trend and get their book out there or get it done. And they don't actually want to pay attention. And they're not trying to actually add to the genre. They're not trying to add to the collective conversation. But then they also want the accolades that come with being one of the greats. And it's just kind of like, but babes, you didn't do anything. You just, I don't know. This doesn't make any sense to me. You're not challenging anything. You're literally just showing up and doing the bare minimum and expecting people to be like falling over themselves for it. This is odd. And then if you're writing a horror and there's no blood, there's no gore, and it's not really scary to the point where it's cozy, why are you calling it a horror? I don't know. Wouldn't that just be a completely different genre? But I feel like maybe you're just calling it a horror because that makes it convenient for you to market it, because right now dark fantasy and horror is really popular. And you're like, well, there are romance elements to it, and you know there is people who go missing, but they don't actually die, and they're found at the end of the book, so the stakes are really low, and you know there's a little bit of tension, but it's mostly about. Wait a second, you just dismissed the entire point of the genre. I'm confused. Yeah, and. Yeah, they write books and then squeeze it into a genre, or they make it up. Every time I've asked what cozy fantasy was, people mention Legends and Lattes and similar books, but can't define it. I feel like cozy fantasy is what Kimberly Lemming writes, which is like, but at the same time, what she writes is essentially a rom-com. Like, it's a fantasy rom-com. It's not, I mean, it is quote unquote cozy, and it is technically fantasy, but I feel like just calling it a fantasy rom-com would make way more sense than calling it cozy fantasy. Because it's a romantic comedy in a fantasy world. That's exactly what it is. I feel like people make up new definitions so that they can seem innovative and they don't have to adhere to the actual tropes. Because like if you call something a rom-com, well, you know what you got to be, homie? Funny. Because that's what the com and rom-com stands for. It's comedy. So some of y'all just want to be writing like, I don't know, whatever, and then just making it up. I don't know. I've never read Legends and Lattes though, so I couldn't say what it was. I've seen it, but yeah. I've never gotten into it. I'm gonna leave that
Read
at
Love
that.
Listen said, I think some authors are hopping on trends. They don't want to world build or have a magic system or action, so they say a book is cozy horror or cozy fantasy. Okay, if you don't want to world build or have a magic system, then don't write fantasy, because that is literally the core of fantasy. I'm just saying.
Every series that I've come up with thus far has a completely different world lore. Has different creation myths, has different gods, has different in-world references. So I'm just kind of like, I don't get it. That's the fun part of fantasy for me. It's like, I like fantasy because I'm like, there are no limits to your imagination. Whatever you can think up, you can put into the story, right? It's just kind of like, you want a world with 8 moons? Go for it. You gotta know why there are 8 moons, but
Right.
go for it. Make yourself happy.
Right.
You know, if you want a world that's just one giant continent, okay, why not? No oceans. Don't know how that's gonna work, planetary wise, but figure that out.
But then again, you could build a world where water is not necessary. Water was never invented. Water was not a thing. So I mean,
Water was
the
not
world's-
invented.
The water was not a thing. There was no God that said, separate the earth from the sea.
Yeah. I mean, and We Are the Origin, the entire realm or whatever is basically one continent. So, and it's surrounded by the Blind Sea. There's in-world lore that's mentioned briefly, but it's also like, we're not going to get into that because we don't need to we need to keep the main thing, right?
Right.
But I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. It's hard to say it in a way that's like, I don't want to say politically correct, but I don't know. As an author and also like as a reader, and as a reader who has been vastly disappointed by a lot of books that have come across my timeline, I'm just kind of like, for authors to then get on the internet and act like, oh, you guys shouldn't dislike my book, or I should be able to market my book however I want to, or not market it at all, because another unpopular bookish opinion. Those arrows, they're not cute. They're not giving what they think you're giving. I don't want to see another book with arrows and tropes around it. I don't care that you're like, oh, it has political intrigue. What the F does that mean? What is the book about? Political intrigue. Are you a princess? Are you a monarch? Are you a court mage? Are you a scribe? Like, what does this have to do with the entire plot of the book? I would just like to know, out of curiosity. What would be great? If you wrote a sentence and you told me what it's about. You're trying to sell me an entire book full of sentences. Write one and tell me what's in it. That's just me. I don't want arrows. But again, that's an unpopular opinion. I know it's an unpopular opinion. I will live in that truth. I have a lot of those, apparently. I did not think I had as many as I did. I'll never forget someone comparing the magic in their books to the magic of a Hallmark Christmas movie. A Hallmark Christmas movie? Meaning that everything just works out in the end because magic of the season, Christmas miracle, no plot reason whatsoever. That's fun. Okay, let's see here. Also, unpopular opinions. This one's from Read, Love, Listen. When I can't tell which character is speaking. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. I think that's bad writing. I don't even think that's unpopular. The only time I give it grace is if it's the opening line of a book. If you have a piece of dialogue that is the opening line of a book or a chapter, I will give you that brief moment before I read that second line and I figure out who's talking. That's it. But otherwise, there should not be whole pieces of dialogue and I'm like, who is this? Who's talking? And I feel like I have to go back and look at the dialogue tags and be like, did I miss something? Because it doesn't make sense for this character to be saying this right now. That's just bad writing. Do better. Just do better. Because dialogue tags exist. Character said, I don't want to do this. Character said, boom. Confusion gone. Anyway. And then Ben said, authors who falsely market their books are setting themselves up for failure, and there are way too many authors doing it. Oh, that's a whole word. I'm going to just say Black Mermaids, and I'm going to leave it at that. Because there was an era. And yes, set up for failure. Set up for failure. But yeah, and don't even get me started on authors who can't write synopsis, because sometimes I read and I'm like, this tells me nothing. How did you do that? You know what? Writing a synopsis is hard, but I also believe that you should spend some time with it. Writing a whole book, here's the thing. Writing a novel is easier than writing a short story, and that's easier than writing flash fiction, and that is easier than writing a children's book. And that is a lot easier than writing a synopsis when you have like 3 to 7 sentences to tell someone what your book is about. But you have to make it interesting and have enough intrigue. That's hard. It's really, really hard. So, but I also like to read them, because I know some people don't actually read the synopsis and the summary on the back of a book. And I'm just like, y'all are reckless. Don't know if I can live my life that way. Y'all are literally just going off of a cover and a vibe. Oh my God. I can't. But still got folks to this day thinking that's a Black Mermaid. Yeah. We're gonna leave that where it's at. That being said, you guys, it is 11 o'clock, so we're about to migrate over to the after chat. But I do want to let you guys know that my last unpopular opinion for authoring this year, I'm done with newsletters. Why? I hate them. They make me unhappy spiritually, physically, mentally. I cannot stand writing a newsletter. So I'm not doing it this year.
Don't do it if it doesn't bring you joy.
I'm not, because I take my own advice. Marie Kondo, I'm eating it this year. But in replace of that, I do have a server. It's called the Lockhart server, where you can get all of the updates and stuff from me. Why does this work better? Because I can just tell you the relevant things in real time instead of waiting until the end of the week or the end of the month to try to compile everything that happened into one newsletter email that's very well written, but also has graphics, but also comes out and ends up in your inbox at the right time, but also has a really catchy subject line. But if you want to know what's going on with me, please join the server. Love that. If you have read the books and you would like other people to talk about the books with, please join the server. If you would maybe potentially be interested in joining my street team in the future, join the server, because I will be asking them first. If you want sneak peeks into things that I'm working on, join the server. You see where I'm going with this? Join the server. It's free. So just click on the button and join. It's called the Lockhart server. It's down in the description box below. And yeah. And essentially, Portia said she let newsletters go last year. Too much stress. I have a broadcast channel on IG. The reason I did it on Discord is because I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram. Y'all know I hate Instagram. I don't like it. So there's no point building an audience over there. And so if you only know me from YouTube, you can still join. You don't have to get over on Instagram to be a part of it. So that is that. We are moving over to the after chat. If you guys don't know what the after chat is, it is the chat after the chat where we talk like grown folks, because it's funner that way. $5 gets you in.
And y'all, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say $5 gets you in, and it supports the Melanin Library. Now, an announcement from Audra.
Rants and Rambles will be posting tomorrow. Just letting y'all know, we recorded it last week.
It was great.
This week? Was it last week? It was last week.
I think it was last week, because today is Tuesday. So, yeah.
It's Tuesday. Damn. Yep. So we recorded last week, had a good old chat, had some serious talk, and had, of course, a lot of laughs. So,
yeah. So, also, as I said, hit the like button. Please do. It does not bite you, and if it does, I will sue YouTube myself. Promise. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss when we go live. I will be live again Thursday at 11 o'clock for some writing sprints. So if you're an author and you want to write with me, want some accountability, that would be the best time to join. And also, I'm being more consistent on the channel, so there is a lot more content around for you guys to get into. One of my latest videos talked about how to market your book as an author, so get into it. And another reason to join the Patreon, because I also provide links and a little bit extra information for the videos. So get into it. Appreciate you guys for being here. And until next time. Oh, wait. Wait, I forgot to tell you. Buy my books and my merch, you guys. See, we got hoodies. I write books about Black girls that aren't all that nice. Okay, now I can say, until next time, you guys, I hope your days are lovely and your books are interesting. Bye, you guys.